Today I'd like to give you a quick overview of Petrol Prices Melbourne. The Petrol Prices Melbourne was set up as a quick alert system. If you have a look at this graph, we can see that the petrol prices in Melbourne roughly every 3 to 4 weeks spike quite considerably. If you can buy at the lower point in the cycle, you can save yourself roughly $10 to $15 a month. The alert page, which you can either get through the menu or by clicking on the button, gives you a number of ways of alerting your family and friends. An email, share on Facebook, share on Twitter. Whilst the system was set up as an alert system, since I'm monitoring the petrol prices in any case, it felt only appropriate to include further details. By monitoring the petrol prices, we're now able to display conveniently on the front page of Petrol Prices Melbourne the average price, the maximum price, the minimum price, and the trend. And by watching this trend each day, we can see whether or not the prices are going down or the prices are going up. If you'd like to see what the prices are in the area, you click on Maps. Here you can see we've got a map of Melbourne, and I'm currently covering sort of the eastern suburbs in the area where I live, and you're able to zoom in and zoom out. The markers on the map show the petrol stations and the actual prices at those petrol stations, the date and the time it was taken. The colour coding goes from a very dark red to a dark via yellow to a dark green, with these half markings indicating halfway between the different colours. Each colour change represents 2.5 cents, and that allows us to see that the prices easily are cheaper. So these dark greens are actually cheaper than the half dark green, half lighter green. The shaded markers are the prices that were taken on the previous day. The white marker is your current location. If we want to see the price of a particular petrol station, we simply click on it, and that will show us the price and when the price was taken. And we can also have directions. If we're sitting in the car, we can use the directions to take us to the petrol station. Conveniently, we've got the nearby petrol stations, and this shows you the petrol stations, up to 10 petrol stations that are near you and the prices. So here we can see the closest petrol stations. Now what we've done here is shown a distance as the crow flies to each of the petrol stations, and created a figure that we can compare a standard 50 litre tank of petrol plus the cost. So if you had to go out of a night time, fill up your petrol tank and come back home, what would it cost you? So here you can see that there's a total cost of $52.74. However, by travelling slightly further, you're going to actually save money. So the nearest petrol station is not necessarily the cheapest petrol station. So this nearby screen shows you up to 10 petrol stations that are around you. We also have the list of cheapest petrol stations are recorded, so that if you're looking around, and the way to use this is that you could, if you're travelling around Melbourne, by knowing where the cheapest petrol station is, you can simply drop off on the way to somewhere. It doesn't cost you any more, and you pick up, and you can save usually 4 to 6, maybe even more cents on a normal at a normal time. And during the spike time, you could save 25 to 30 cents. And finally, we have the all map, which is the first one that you saw. So we have the ability to look up the maps. Now, second to that is somehow we've got to get the prices into the system. And this is all designed to be done by the crowd, you and me. So you can see that the majority of petrol stations around Melbourne are now included in the map. And there's a lot of them, close to 800. Petrol station is shown by an icon that clearly represents what the petrol station is. When you see the petrol station, all you need to do is to click on the petrol station. The screen pops up and you can put in the current price either just after you fill up, or if you're travelling in a car as a passenger or on public transport and see a petrol station, it only takes a moment to submit a price for the petrol station. Submit the price, and that price now becomes part of the system. Same way we have the maps. When you're out and about, the nearby map shows you where you are and also the current 10 petrol stations around you. This is very convenient because you can simply either click on the actual petrol station, or you can click on this and on the link and select the petrol station. And again, it shows you a history of it, and you can put in the current petrol price at that petrol station. So you have the choices, the nearby petrol stations or all petrol stations. So if you've gone to work and saw a petrol station on the way to work and you're sitting down at the desk, you can open up the map, move to the spot that you want, select the petrol station and enter the details for that petrol station. Finally, we have bulk. Now what bulk is a couple of people are helping me, and people, if they wish to, they can turn around and each day put in a similar list of prices as I do each day for the petrol stations around me and the other people do for the petrol stations around them. This gives a good start to the information to show us how the petrol's trending for the day, and so by around 11 o'clock in the morning we're able to see whether the petrol's going up or going down or staying roughly the same. So these are the petrol stations I can easily ascertain the data for and put those in a couple of minutes. And so basically that's it. We've got a Petrol Prices Melbourne to show the petrol prices within about 100 kilometres of Melbourne. We have the ability to alert our family, friends and others that petrol prices are spiking and a great time to save some money on petrol. We have maps which will show us the nearby petrol stations, the cheapest petrol stations or all the petrol stations, and the colour coding markers will show us roughly the cheaper prices in the area that we're looking at. And we also have the ability to submit the prices in a number of different ways to the benefit of everybody. Thank you for listening and taking the time to enjoy my presentation on a quick overview of petrol prices.